Hi there, I'm Miriam and welcome to Miriam's Manor. You guys, today we are in my garden. I know that it has been a while, but I am going to be walking you through my garden and showing you how things are coming along for this season and also a few changes that I have made. I also do have a channel announcement for you guys. I will be off for the next 6 to 8 weeks-ish. So what that means for my members, nothing is going to change for you so far as your members only videos once a month for gold members and higher, and my platinum members and higher. We are still going to be doing our live streams every month, and then everyone else, I will see you back in a couple of months when I return. So today's tour is really inspired by Rebecca, who is a member. Now, she and I have been communicating a lot through email lately, sending each other pictures back and forth of our gardens, our harvests, and things like that. So, Rebecca, you asked for this video, so here you go. I hope the rest of you all enjoy the tour of my June garden of 2023. Here we go. Now, fair warning, you guys, I've created some new garden beds this year. I have projects that are incomplete, but this is just what it looks like now while it is a work in progress. So these hibiscus that are flanking both sides need to be trimmed. I have not gotten around to doing that yet. And then the lantanas that I planted from my last garden video obviously have grown up and filled in nicely. The vines that I have up against this wall are filling in and doing really nice. I am really excited about this because a friend gave me a fountain that I am going to get hooked up hopefully sometime this season. But this is one of the new little beds that I created. It is not much yet, you guys. These are some vincas, this darker color, this orange burst, I think this color is called. And then these little ones with the balls in the back are Gumfrina. Now, this is still being added to, and you can see I have not mulched, I have not created my border, I haven't done anything for this space. I popped these in the ground, ran some quick drip to them because I was going on vacation and needed to get them hooked up so that at least they could be watered while I was gone. So this one is the newest one that I just did like 2 days ago. And this one over here, I began this whole bed over here in February. Now, what I did in February, I planted all the corms for the gladiolus, and I was really hoping that they would bloom before the heat of our Arizona summer kicked in, and I'm so super excited because they did. I have got blooms that I will shade so you can see the color better. This one is going to be like a coral color. Now, these were a mixed blend that I got. As you can see, this one is yellow, and this was the color of the three of these. They're like variegated with white, but they are such a beautiful like magenta color. So as you can see down here, these ones bloomed first. These blooms here at the bottom are beginning to fade, but I have a lot that have not even opened up yet, so that's really exciting. Not all of the gladiolus ended up coming through, so I ended up planting these cosmos like a month and a half after I had planted the gladiolus. So they are now bushing up, getting tall, and I think about ready to bloom. I think I might see a bud on one of those. Yeah, right there. So cute. So I'm finally gonna get a bloom on these, and that is super exciting. I did border this whole arrangement with some potato vines, the deep purple, and then that chartreuse green. In the front over here is a super petunia that I just planted like a week or two ago. So I am expecting it to kind of bush in and fill in this area. And then I'm just going to let the sweet potato vines, these things grow massive, and so they will fill in the rest of this area here. Now, this little space here is a work in progress. I need more brick to make this little patio area here, but I'm going to put my table here instead of inside of my garden where it used to be, because I got a new bed this year. My husband built me this new bed last year, so I have been growing in it. I've got some good stuff in it now. So let's go ahead and go inside of the garden now. I can't wait to show you guys these projects though once they're all buttoned up, because right now everything just looks kind of crazy. So this is how the garden was always originally supposed to look. Beds on either side, an opening in the center, and the long one in the back. Now this year, I hope you guys can see this well, I have created an arch to walk through in this garden space. I got the cattle panel that doesn't come rolled up. It comes in the sheet. If you're looking for something that you can bend in a perfect arch like this, don't get the cattle panel that is already rolled up when you purchase it. They sell them in flat 16-foot sheets. And I believe this one was like $40 or $48, something like that. So on this side of it, I have green beans coming up, and you can see that it is flowering everywhere. I've got buds on this baby everywhere. So I'm really excited for all of the blooms on this. They're going to start producing some fruit pretty soon. They have made it all the way over here on this cattle panel. And on the other side over here, I have cucumbers coming up this way, and they were a little slower to take off for me this year. They sat about 4 inches tall for a good month before they finally grew. So this particular set of cucumbers was a little bit delayed, but it wasn't getting as much sun. So let's start at the beginning. I have another banana pepper plant I planted, and it is time for me to stake it. I put this here as a stake once it grew up a little bit bigger, and I can see it needs it now. So I'm going to, after I finish recording this, get a zip tie and stake this up. Oh my gosh, I have my first fruit. I didn't even notice that. Oh, that's so exciting. Yay! This thing has grown so fast. I planted this when it was a little baby about that tall, so it has come up beautifully. In the back there, I've got some basil going, and then this one is a hybrid cherry tomato that ended up volunteering itself, and the fruit comes out as a mix between my beefsteak and my Sicilian cherry tomatoes. It's so funny. So they make a more sweet tomato though, but they're shaped like a miniature beefsteak tomato. They're so cute and they're really good. And then over here on this side, I know I talked to you guys last time about switching out my watering system, and I did do that in all of the beds except for one. So I have this system in there now. So everything waters towards the ground. And so you can see it has holes like every 3 inches to water. So this is my big strawberry patch here. I pick off of this thing daily. There's some fruit I still need to harvest for today, actually. And I really do have to get in the canopy of these to see all of the fruit that is here, because otherwise I will miss it. So I've got a lot of new little babies that are growing on this thing right now. A lot of ones that are flowering and just getting started all throughout the strawberry patch. Now, I also have a volunteer tomato that came up in with my strawberries. I was gonna pull it, but I have such a hard time pulling plants sometimes that are beautiful and healthy. So I don't know, I think I may leave it, but it's already producing fruit. And this thing is just like a month old. This one also volunteered at the same time. And it's got flowers on it, but I don't see any fruit on it yet. In the midst of this, though, if I can move this out of the way, this is my bell pepper plant here, and you can see a little baby one just growing, but you can also see a much larger one towards the bottom that I will actually pick and cook for tonight. Oh wow, see you guys, I really have to move these. Look at all these strawberries underneath here too. So there's another one coming in right there. I really have to be intentional about moving everything when I am looking for all of my strawberries. So back around on this back side, I have some oregano that I just cut back actually a few days ago. It was huge. It was covering this whole area. It was actually smothering this little zucchini plant that wasn't getting enough sun to take off and grow. So I had to cut it back severely so that it could have a chance to try to make it. But I have this zucchini plant right next to it that is doing beautifully. And this is just the back of the cucumber that's going over the arch here. I do have fruit on this thing. Let me see if I can move these out of the way. There we go. So there is one there that needs to be pulled. And then I have two over here on this side that need to be pulled. And then before I make it to this back garden bed, I'm going to come back around this way to show you the second half of this one. Now, this is my first time growing this variety of cherry tomato, and it is a yellow pear. So the fruit matures a yellow, like a yellowishy orangish color, but they're shaped like miniature pears. How cute are these? Aren't they just so cute? And they're loaded with fruit everywhere. This plant has been highly productive, and I have thoroughly enjoyed this particular variety. It is really sweet, you guys. I picked off all of the ripe ones. I don't have any ripe ones to show you at the moment, but you can see it's bearing a ton of fruit. And then this is the backside of the green beans that are growing up. I do have a bell pepper in here with a fruit on it. I have been picking a lot off of this one. This one has been a really good producer for me so far this year. And then this baby is the Sun Sugar cherry tomato. Now, I was at the garden center and a lady stopped me and said, if you're getting that pear one, you've got to get this one because these are so sweet. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite varieties. And so I took her word for it. I got the plant, and I'm so thankful I did. This ages the same color, like that yellowishy mustard color. You can see a little bird got into that one, which happens a lot in my garden. I still have not put up any netting, but I do have some mature fruit on here that I need to come in and pull off. But as you can see, this one is loaded with flowers as well as with fruit. Fruit is everywhere on this particular plant. So my tomatoes have been so wonderful so far this year. Alright, so back to the center, going back to the big bed. Now you guys, I kind of knee-jerked on the cucumbers this year because last year I planted about 6 cucumber plants and the birds took almost every single one. I never got to have a proper cucumber harvest because by the time I was able to get the cucumbers back in the ground and start over from scratch for them to grow, the heat, they just wouldn't grow in that extreme heat. So this year I planted them in 2 different spaces, as you can see, and I'm so thankful I did, because I actually am getting a really good harvest now. So this one going up this vine, and it's worked its way all the way over now. These are all cucumbers, and it's about 4 different cucumber plants. And as you can see, I've got a lot of fruit on this baby. I think I've got like 5 or 6 different cucumbers in different stages growing on this thing. I do come out and I do hand pollinate. There's another one growing in there. And the bees are definitely in my garden, but I noticed when both of my male and female flowers were both coming in, the bees weren't really pollinating them well. So I do come in, I hand pollinate every morning just to kind of go behind the bees to ensure that I will get fruit. And that so far has been working really well for me. So I also I planted some of my favorite squash again this year, the scallop squash, and this one is huge. This is probably the biggest one I have ever gotten in a harvest so far, and this one just started growing. If you guys have not tried this squash, it's called scallop squash. It is so good. I've got to have caterpillars. Look at this leaf. Oh dear, it is time to spray. It has been 2 weeks since I've sprayed. I've been really diligent about spraying this year, which I'm not typically in a lot of years, but I have been spraying with BT every other week, and then neem oil every other week as well, to try to prevent budworms and caterpillars and things like that that like to eat up all of your crops. And so far I have had great success with that. However, it has been 2 weeks because I've been on vacation a lot, and so I need to get on it, obviously. And then back here I've got a beefsteak tomato. Now this plant has been extremely productive. I've probably picked off 20 tomatoes so far this season, and they're all really good sizes. You can see a lot of the green ones in here that haven't yet ripened. There's 2 there, 1 there. You can see that one in there, this one here. They are everywhere, but at the same time they are mixed in with a cherry tomato that is here. So you can see all of the fruit from these cherry tomatoes as well. I have tomatoes everywhere because they just keep volunteering everywhere in my garden. Just like in this bed here, I have hacked back this cherry tomato more times than I can count, you guys. I hacked it off in March, and it is back again with a vengeance. And there's another one that ended up coming on this side, in addition to the 2 that were back here. But this is how it ended up hybridizing. This is what I was telling you guys about. So it looks like a little beefsteak tomato, but it ends up staying the size of a cherry tomato. They are so good, and I'm glad that they ended up cross-pollinating, because that's not something you can buy in a store. But I also have a regular cherry right next to it. So this one hasn't produced any fruit yet, so I don't know what this one is going to end up being. By the look of this flower, I kind of think it's going to be, oh no, here we go. This is going to end up being like the beefsteak cherry, because that's what the flowers look like. You can see the difference. Let me get them next to each other if I can. You can see the difference in the flower. The one right here, the center is more roughly, and then this one, the center is more pointed. So this one will probably be a regular cherry, and this one will probably be the beefsteak cherry. I did hack my bell pepper plants that were here all the way back, because we had a really crazy winter and they almost did not survive the winter. But as you can see, I do have leaves coming back right here. The plant is not dead. I did the scratch test. Some of the branches are, so like this branch is dead, but you can see even the green from this one from the outside. This one, if you scratch, it's still green underneath. So I'm leaving it in because it has life left. It's got new growth points in a few different spots, so I'm gonna let it do its thing. And the same with this one. I had cut this one all the way back, and although some of it is dead, I do have still life in the branches, so I'm just gonna leave it for now and see if it will bounce back. I almost forgot my last exciting part. So I have this plant hooked up to irrigation running. That's for out there. But I bought a bare root hydrangea plant. Now this one does grow in a zone 9, and it is underneath my tarp in my garden. It's the only place that I can keep it to get shade, so I have to keep it in this pot for now. But this had only 2 tiny leaves that were like this tall when I first planted it, and now it is leafing out. I'm praying that if I keep it in this shade, it will survive the summer and possibly bloom for me. We shall see. But I'm so proud of the growth on this because they're not plants that can typically be grown here. So I will keep you guys posted, especially for those of you watching if you're in a zone 9B or like low desert climate like I am, with extreme high heat in the summers. I will keep you posted on how it does and see if it survives the summer or not. So PS, 2 days later, this has opened up, and oh my gosh, look at this gorgeous color. This is just so beautiful. So thank you guys so very much for hanging out with me today. If you have any questions for me, leave me a line in the comment section. I will get back with you. I will still be checking email, so you can also email me at miriamsmanor@gmail.com. And until I see you again, stay safe. God bless you, and may your life and your garden produce good fruit. Bye.